Today I fucked up by telling my crush's twin I like her by mistake and she said yes. So I have a crush on this girl in my class and I've interacted with her for a while. I've been telling and even psyching myself up for some time to tell her that I'm really into her and even got my female friends to roleplay with me the whole event. Yes, I was that nervous about the whole thing. Anyway, I knew she had an identical twin sister and she's also cute, but I didn't really pay that to mind cause she is in a different class than us. On a certain day, I told myself that if I see her on campus, I'll just tell her, my crush, that I like her and that it's better to be rejected than to just not take action cause that hurts more. So as I was heading to my morning class, I see her walking alone and immediately know that this is my chance. So I begin talking to her and she was usually giddy and somewhat passive. And then I tell her how I feel and she is so happy that she even agrees to me taking her out. Then I was shocked when she went to a different class than me cause we have the same classes, come to find my actual crush sitting in a spot we both sit in during class. Too long did not read. Now I'm dating my crush's sister and not my actual crush and our friendship has gotten weird ever since. I'm so cooked. Med just go with it, never admit to it ever, live happily ever after. You knew she had a twin and didn't check to see which one you were talking to? Especially considering the sensitive nature of discussion. I dated a twin for a while. They were pretty freaky. She liked to play this game where after sex, she'd slip out to use the bathroom and her twin would come back wearing the same lingerie and we'd go at it again. They thought I didn't know, but I figured it out when I noticed the little clues. Like Jill would paint her nails purple, and Bob had a cock. It's starting to dawn on me, that anytime I have the urge to write a random little story, or make up a nonsense bit of drama fluff, I can just write it in a Reddit post and throw it out there just to see what people think of it. There's nothing stopping me. Female friends to roleplay. Next step. Propose to date them both. Y'all never know. Today I fucked up by bricking 4 new smoke detectors as I was installing them. Edit. They're not bricked after all. Closing square bracket opening parenthesis. Thought I, foo. My smoke detectors had been going off randomly. Shouting, fire, fire, in between ear-splitting shrieks, not chirping, so it wasn't the backup batteries. They were coming up on 8 years old. You're supposed to replace them every 8-10 years, it turns out. So I bought a new set of them from Costco to replace them all at once. They turned out to be a sealed internal battery model that doesn't connect to the house power at all. Not really what I intended to buy, but it's fine. Now I confess that I didn't read the installation manual super closely. I checked the section on how to test them after they're installed, and the sections about where and where not to put them to make sure that they were in okay spots. But installing a smoke alarm is not hard. You screw the bracket into the ceiling, mount the alarm on the bracket, and you're done. These alarms have a switch on the back. Out of the box, there's a yellow tab blocking the switch from being flipped. The yellow tab says on it, remove and discard before activating alarm. Okay, cool. So that's the activation switch, and this tab blocks it from being activated in transit so you know the internal battery is still full. Makes sense. So as I'm installing these alarms, I'm removing the tab as instructed. And then flipping the switch. When I do, the alarm beeps once, as if activated. Perfect. I put the thing in the ceiling and hold the test button, and it beeps and flashes and as it's, I'm working, routine. All done, on to the next one. As I'm installing the last one after flicking the switch, of course I notice that the switch is labeled, deactivate. I start reading the text next to the switch. It turns out that this is a permanent deactivation switch. Once deactivated, the unit cannot be reactivated. A little Googling reveals that it works by breaking a mechanical connection inside the detector that permanently shorts the battery, so that it drains fully and is safe to recycle. The reason the alarm still tested successfully after installed while deactivated is that the battery hadn't finished discharging. Who needs $110 in this economy? Too long did not read. My new fire alarms had a switch blocked by a yellow tab that says, remove before activating, on it. I assumed it was an activation switch and flipped it on all of them. Actually, it's a permanent deactivation switch. Costco will probably have your back even though you are to blame. Bro did the same exact thing. More than once lol. I've also had multiple of those kind of alarms be faulty for me too. Not sure if I'm cursed or what. But they are fucking expensive so I'm not a fan lol. Got some more old school 9-volt battery ones and a pack of batteries instead. Also when the tab is inserted it blocks part of the deactivate label so that all you can see is CTIVATE, for fuck's sake. I bought a few of these kinds of alarms recently too. Are yours by chance First Alert Model SMCO 210? I was really confused by their wording too when trying to activate them, and I feared that I had bricked mine as well. Just in case you have the same model, and to possibly save you the hassle of returning them. Did you physically break away the white plastic tab and slide the deactivate switch all the way down? If not, your alarms should still be functional. I think they improperly labeled these and you should absolutely use the Costco no-hassle return to get a replacement set. I'd return them. And get the kind that wired to house power. Don't forget to cut the breaker while installing. Edit. Turn off the breaker for the literal-minded. Today I fucked up by not following the #1 rule of knife safety. So, I work on call. Have up to a 70-mile commute each way, and alongside my wife I'm attempting to raise a puppy alongside my 145-pound dog. The lack of sleep is catching up to me. Got used to working late and sleeping in late. The puppy can't go more than 3 hours without a potty break. So yesterday, thinking I had a moment of peace just before calling it bedtime, I decided to cut up some summer sausage and a nice block of manchego. Well, like the title says, it's decided to cut towards myself to remove a small piece of the rind that had a little mold on it. Well, the knife made it through the rind and directly into my finger. Lol, I don't think it's infected, but man am I grateful for Dermabond in my first aid kit. Bled like a sieve. TLR, decided to cut towards myself. Learned a good lesson about serrated kitchen knives. THEYRE sharp. Always treat the knife as if it was loaded? Just remember, there are 2 knife safety rules. The other one is, a falling knife has no handle. When my daughter was about 7, she got interested in whittling. I got her one of my pocket knives and some wood and shared the basics and then told her, the one safety rule is, never ever cut toward yourself. She was then sitting out on the front porch because literally it's illegal to whittle anywhere else, working on some piece, and hit a point where it would be most convenient to cut toward herself. She thought, well, one time is probably fine, and did it. And cut herself. I put a band-aid on it and told her, I told you so. She's 22 now, but recently brought that up to me as a memory. House rule. No sharps in the sink. Learned it as a teenager. I was a dishwasher in some restaurant and the coked up, allegedly, chef tore into me my first day because I put knives in the sink to wash them. You can't see them when they're underwater. Someone grabs for something and they get cut. Don't fucking do that. Ever. My vague recollection of what he told me cleaned up. When I was 10, I was whittling a stick for no particular reason with my dad's Leatherman. I knew the rule about cutting away from your hand, but I fucked up anyway and managed to cut deep into that skin in between your thumb and forefinger. It bled like crazy, and just for bonus points, my parents weren't home and the babysitter from across the street was watching us. I think she was 15 or so. I came up to her with the blood running down my arm and she just screamed. I still have an inch-long scar. Chef here was exhausted from back-to-back clopins. The boneless chicken thighs had a bone the knife slipped off of. My thumb was exactly where it's not supposed to be. Cut about 1/8 of an inch clean off the tip of my thumb. A little bit of bone was apparently showing, according to my emergency contact girlfriend who got me to Emerg. The excruciating pain you feel when you sink a knife into your thumb. That pain comes from the knowledge that you're an idiot. Saint Bourdain. Today I fucked up by having a one-girl karaoke marathon for 3 hours. I've, F18, finally come home from school for winter break and my family lives in a pretty small apartment. Our unit is connected to several others, with 2 on our right and left. My mother and siblings were off at school and work today, so for the first time since being home, I was alone. I decided this would be a great way to get house chores done and have some me time in peace. I woke up around 8:30 or so and kind of rotted in bed until 10. Around 11 a.m. I decided to get to work and cleaned up our bathroom, kitchen, and took out the trash. Throughout the ordeal could not stop humming to myself. It's a habit that I've had for years and developed from listening to my grandma hum while she cleaned. Eventually, the humming turned into full-on, but quiet, singing. And then for whatever fucking reason I thought it'd be a good idea to take a break and pull up one of those instrumental-only karaoke videos on YouTube. For the next hour and a half, I got really into singing one specific song, the title I will not share because I'm still deeply embarrassed. The more I practiced, the more I wanted to get better and the more fun I had. In the company of my 2 cats, I danced around our living room feeling like a pop star on her biggest world tour, pretending my broom was a microphone and flipping my hair like a crazy person. In hindsight, I feel terrible for not considering how loud I was being. My throat started feeling dry and the singing became tiresome, so I eventually returned to the original task at hand. I fed my cats, cleaned their litter box, and swept our outside porch. Once again, I took another break. Using the same song, I grabbed my broom and picked up right where I left off. For another hour or so I lost myself in it and just kept dancing and singing. It felt really awesome to not worry about anyone hearing or watching me. Then, in the middle of singing, I got a knock at the door. The smile dropped from my face immediately and I quickly paused the instrumental blasting from my laptop that I had propped up on our couch. As soon as I opened the door I was met with a very agitated woman who looked slightly older than me, maybe early 20s. I want to say she was kind about it but she wasn't. I don't blame her at all given how long I had been going for. The aggression was 100% warranted. She immediately asked me to be quiet and explained that her room was next to our living room. She said I had been very loud and told me flat out that I needed to keep it down. I apologized about 1,000,000 times before I finally closed the door. As soon as I was alone again the silence felt suffocating and my face felt so hot I thought my skin would melt off. I wished nothing more than to pack up all my stuff and skip town until my next semester starts. I haven't gotten up from our couch since that interaction. I hope my neighbor is taking a restful nap now or blasting music she likes. I'm tempted to write an apology note and leave it at her door with chocolates or something. This is the most guilty and most embarrassed I've ever felt in my life. I guess I've gotten so used to dorm life that it didn't really occur to me that it'd be a problem here. While I'm definitely not singing and dancing around at school, I usually play my music pretty loud when I'm getting ready or studying. My roommates do the same as well. It's also not uncommon to hear laughing or loud banging coming from our upstairs neighbors or from people in the halls. It makes me so upset that I'd let myself become so inconsiderate. Too long did not read. While home alone I played music really loud while singing and dancing and my neighbor got really annoyed with me. I am now deeply mortified and guilt-ridden for ruining her day. Leave a note with some chocolates saying, "I'm sorry I didn't realize the walls were thin. I didn't mean to disturb you. Here's my number, please text if I'm ever bothering you again." Neighbors are mostly reasonable people, it'll work out. Dying to know what song. Give yourself some grace. How were you supposed to know anyone around you was home and in a mood where they needed quiet in the middle of the day? You're young, and it's a great sign that you are as considerate as you are. Many people are not. She will get over it. You didn't ruin anything. You're in an apartment, and after all my years of living apartment life I can tell you singing at 10 in the morning is the absolutely least of it. Compared to the garbage truck showing up at 6:10 in the morning, you can sleep me away at your leisure. It's not quiet hours so I would keep it down and feel a little embarrassed, but you don't really owe them anything and shouldn't feel bad. We need to know the song, Op. Meh, sounds like an awesome experience of just living free. Don't be ashamed of letting loose every now and then. No need to apologize any more than you already have.